Welcome back, guys. I just wanted to do a quick video on why I plant all my fruit trees as well as my veggies in raised garden beds. Well, believe it or not, it's so easy to overwater fruit trees, and some trees, well, most trees don't like wet feet, and it can cause a lot of problems. Most people don't even realize how much they overwater their fruit trees. The most problem in fruit trees really is overwatering, and it's so common and so easy to do, and by the time you've done it, the problems just get so bad so quick, and it's hard to rectify down the track. So a way to help prevent overwatering is to grow all your trees in raised beds, especially trees like this one here, the avocado. They really want good drainage. They're so prone to root rot, and it will kill them every time. I've lost heaps of avocados at my old place from root rot. They get to about 10 foot tall. We have a wet season, bang, all dead. So I'm not going to make that mistake ever again. So you can learn from me to put your avocados extra high, higher than any other tree you've got, and make sure you have good drainage in your soil that you plant them in as well. I've even gone to the extra effort to put another drain in around the outside of my garden bed, one there and one there, just to stop water pooling, so it won't just sit there and just make the ground wetter and wetter and wetter. Plus I've also planted my passion fruit vine to help suck water away from that area as well, and that's growing here and right up the fence and up that dead tree. I've actually got a passion fruit tree, believe it or not. It's just loaded with passion fruits. So yeah, I believe in fruit trees. Plant them high and let them grow down into the natural soil later on. I've just put star pickets down in the corners, and this has got star pickets as well in the corners, and that's also something for the roots to hang on to. When the roots grow down, because these star pickets go right down into natural ground, the roots will hang on to them and will make them stable, give the tree something to really grab onto underneath. So it can make them, the stronger they feel in the roots, the more productive they're going to be. They're going to feel stronger, they're going to be productive. These two avocados have only been in here in the ground about 18 months, and they've grown heaps. I've cut them both back because they're just booming too much. We got 3 avocados off the Hass last year, and I think this year they will both get lots of fruit. They're at that right size now, I think, where they'll probably set quite a few fruit this year. Another thing with avocados, you see this white splatter all over it. That's 3-in-1 Ivy Organics plant protector. It's like a whitewash paint that you paint on to the branches and the trunk, and it stops them from getting sunburnt. Avocados are very prone to sunburn, and if you don't do that, it's very easy to lose them. If you're in a hot climate, we're in subtropical here in Australia, in Queensland, and it's so easy to lose avocados from sunburn. So you really got to protect them with some type of whitewash. Whitewash is all organic, the one you use from Ivy Organics. It's definitely a good one to get, and I mix up a little bit in a spray container too and just spray it on the leaves. Definitely helps. They definitely need it. This didn't wilt at all right through summer, believe it or not. All through the hot summer we've had here, didn't wilt one day, because I just always had whitewash on it. Any other tree without it would be, you know what I mean, not coping at all. So I put the whitewash on all my fruit trees pretty much. I even put it on me, you see a little bit of it coated on my oranges. the avocado is the main one to put it on. Pawpaws are another one that you need in a raised bed, I believe, because they are really prone to root rot as well. These are growing beautiful. Can't wait to eat this one. I think I'll be eating this one in a day or two. We're lucky here that we haven't got critters that will come and eat them. This is a yellow gold variety. And my other one over here is a red variety. I've got two different varieties just to see which one would do best. The yellow is definitely doing better. I think the red's a bit more suited to colder climates. A little bit colder than here anyway. But still doing pretty good. Still pretty happy with it. Can't complain. I think the fruit will actually get bigger than what it is. I've just planted a heap of greens. That time of the year to get your greens in, but when they're young, just make sure you water them 2 or 3 times a day because it's still hot in early spring. I try to plant stuff as early as I can. Even if some die, I'll just replant them just to get them in early, because greens are the best thing to grow through the cooler climates. They're very hard to grow through summer. So I've just got some bok choy up there, some cos lettuce. I've just put in some tomatoes. I planted Mighty Red because they're high yielding and they are great for disease resistant. Mighty Red. So they should do pretty good. I've only put 2 in. You don't need a heap of tomato plants, just give them space and they'll grow up. This stake I've put in, and then I'm going to cage them, and they should grow up to about 6 foot tall, and you should get about 60 tomatoes off one plant. The other good thing while you put in a raised garden bed is it's so much easier to keep the weeds out of. You can whip a snip up to the edges of it. Yeah, weeds is always going to be a problem when it comes to gardening, but definitely a way to keep them out. All through my fruit trees I mulch heavy with wood chip, as you would have seen. Everything's in wood chip. Just to keep the weeds out of here. I've got pretty much no weeds in this whole bed. I've just done a bit of a design here just to make it a bit different. You know what I mean? Just stepped it in and out and just planted me fruit trees, me bigger fruit trees in the stepped out sections, and the smaller fruit trees like this little calamansi, that won't get real big. Well, I can keep that small very easily. And here it's just a Maya lemon. I don't want to let that get too big either. And your pawpaws aren't going to be there forever. They'll only grow for a few years, and then you'll rip them out and you'll put another one in. But in the meantime, you probably want to get one up to size so you can replace it. And I've got a banana in between here, which I'll just let grow. I'll only let one grow there. I'll take out any suckers. And the red ruby grapefruit fruit, it's a dwarf, so that'll grow to about 10 foot. You don't want them any bigger than that. You really want to have all your fruit trees no bigger than 10 foot, 3 meters. Just makes life so much easier. That's why I always choose dwarf bananas from now on too. So much easier to look after. My pomelo in the corner here is doing well. Planted him up nice and high. This is where I throw just all my leftover bits of mulch, all my chop and drop just in this corner. And just, I've always got vines growing on the fence, whether it be sweet potato, climbing spinach, or bitter gourd. it just sucks all the moisture out of the garden, just to help, because if you putting too much chop and drop, it does tend to make the area a bit too wet. So you just got to keep an eye on that. But pomelo loves it. It's one citrus are a tree that you can put a lot of water on. They're pretty good like that. With they don't get sick too quick, but you still can't overwater them. But the plan with this pomelo was to grow it up and just have it shaped like a big umbrella, and just have these beautiful big pomelos hanging down in the corner like just a beautiful centerpiece in my corner. I just love the look of pomelo trees hanging down with big beautiful yellow pomelos. And this is the perfect shaped tree. I've trained it that way. It's just got nothing up the trunk, and then it just comes out and just spreads at the top with its main branches spreading. So ideally I just want this about 10 foot tall and just spread out about 3 meters as well, 10 foot wide, and just like a big umbrella, and just with all these big pomelos hanging down. It'll just look awesome. Yeah, so getting back to raised beds, definitely the go. I just fill up my soil from the local, just grab trailer loads of soil from the local sand and gravel mob, just a farmer's blend. And then from then on you just keep adding to it, just to keep your soil beautiful. Like this soil is unbelievable that's in here. It's so like healthy, full of worms. All my garden scraps I just come and bury in random spots in my garden, and it just keeps the worms so thick. Just got some more bok choy here, and I've planted some silver beet. A few of them I planted a bit close together, but as they grow I still spread them out. A few lettuces, and through here underneath this okra I've planted a heap of beetroot. Just little tiny beetroots in the ground here, and I've just planted a heap of them really close. It's because I'll probably lose some, but that whole area will just become thick with beetroot. And then when the okra is finished, I'll just cut the stems off at ground level so it won't disturb the beetroots. I won't pull the roots out, I'll just leave them there. The beetroots will just feed on the roots. If you haven't grown Mizuna, definitely grow some Mizuna. One of my favourite like lettuces to grow for a salad. So beautiful and crunchy. But cos lettuce, easiest one to grow. Definitely put some cos in. You can't go wrong with it. A few mustard greens here. They're only little. They should come back. I've just got a mixed container with mixed Asian greens, and some of them are mustard leaves, Mizuna, those sort of things, but mainly Mizuna, and just a couple of mustards were in that. And soon I'll be ripping all this bitter gourd down, because it's sort of out of season. In the winter it won't really do any well. And I'll run a heap of snow peas up there. Just love growing me snow peas as soon as it starts cooling down. Yeah, so if you want to put in fruit trees, I suggest definitely putting them in raised beds, because they grow so quick. Like all these trees have only been in the ground 18 months and they're already 9 foot tall. You know what I mean? Some of them, like this apple tree here. We actually netted this from the fruit fly last year, and we got about 50 apples off it, believe it or not. Can't wait to get some fruit off this one, the soursop. And we bought a heap of soursops off someone on Marketplace. Turned out they were all rotten. I'm like, do we still want to get them? And I'm like, let's get them for the seeds. So we got about 200 seeds out of this box of soursops. Couldn't eat the soursops. Wasn't too worried about that. I said, for 20 bucks, let's buy them and just get the seeds. So now we've grown like 200 seeds. So we've got probably 150 seedlings. These are the seedlings here. So yeah, I'll just be giving a few of them away and might sell a couple. Even the bananas, you know what I mean, they don't like too much water. I've got them in a half raised bed here. I've just dug my timber just a little bit further into the ground here, my sleepers, and put the bananas in so they're just slightly up. You know what I mean, they're just 120 mil or so up above ground level. Because see here next to it, where water pools, it's just so wet, the grass doesn't even grow there. So I just try to keep my bananas still up slightly. Even my asparagus that I put in here, normally it takes 2 or 3 years, 3 years minimum, to get decent sized asparagus. These asparagus are thick as anything. It's because they're in a raised bed, you know what I mean, and they just grow so quick. The roots can grow so quick, the whole plant can grow so quick. We've been harvesting those asparagus for over a year, and yeah, within a year they were big enough to harvest, believe it or not. And when we first put them in, they were just tiny little seedlings. So it's just amazing how quick things can grow when you put it in raised beds. Strawberries are great to put underneath trees because they don't really affect the growth of the tree at all. They only got small root systems. They're not going to suck too much nutrients out of the ground. The first bunch of bananas is doing good. Pretty happy with it. It's my first bunch of Cavendish bananas I've ever grown. 104 bananas. I don't think his mate here either is too far away from getting a bunch. I reckon probably in another 3 or 4 weeks he might start putting out a bunch, hopefully, but could be getting a bit too close for that one for winter, so I don't know if it's a good thing for him to push out some fruit yet or not. Ideally, if you can, keep your fruit trees that you buy in pots for a year or so before you plant them. I already had these trees for about a year in pots. When I buy the fruit tree, I up pot them and get them nice and healthy first and strong before I put them in the ground. That's why I've got so much fruit trees here in pots, because when you finally find the place for them to go in the ground, they're nice and strong, like this lychee here. This lychee was tiny when I bought it, but you put it in the spot in the yard where it does really good. Find a spot where it's going to grow really good, and then get it sun hardy. And then by the time it's sun hardy, you found a spot for it, you put it in the ground, it's just going to take off. You know what I mean? Before you know it, within a year, it'll be covered in fruit. So you got to think well ahead when it comes to fruit trees. Yeah, like I was saying, guys, I like to get my fruit trees in pots and have them in a pot for a year or so and just get them grown up so they're nice and hardy before you put them in the ground. I like to plant in spring, so they've got a year in the ground before the first winter, roughly. A bit less than a year. So they're nice and strong and their roots have grown a lot in the ground by the time it comes to the first winter. And then ideally, the next springtime, you may get your first lot of fruit. So your fruit trees are only in the ground 18 months and you can be harvesting your first fruits, like these ones here. We actually got one pomelo off this tree last year. I didn't even know if it was going to be any good. It wasn't real big. It wasn't much bigger than these. But we only got one. But I was surprised how beautiful it was. Now this time it's got about 12 on it. Can't believe it. For such a young little tree. I probably could have thinned them out a bit, but I don't need big fruit. I'm happy to just have more fruit. Just enjoy them more that way. Just have one here, one there. But yeah, by the time you're ready to put your fruit trees in the ground, you're putting them in a raised bed. Got all these little fruit trees here, little soursops, custard apples, grapefruits. Grapefruit's one that I've grown from seed several times and produced really good fruit. I've got some Kensington Pride mangoes over the back that you can grow from seeds. I'll have to tell you all about them. But yeah, by the time you've got your fruit trees up and ready to go in the ground, you'll get beautiful fruit really quickly. Gonna get quite a few blood oranges off this. Because the roots grow so quick into your raised beds. So your tree can grow so much quicker, and that's the biggest reason, along with keeping them out of the wet, muddy ground if you put them down at ground level. I wouldn't plant any fruit tree ever again at ground level. I would always put it up in a raised bed. Well, thanks for joining in, guys. And we'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.